I have determined to myself that I've got to start writing down things because I'm a writer. And sometimes I'm a writer who doesn't want to write. So I'm determined to change my ways. I was prompted by God to start writing a diary. And maybe for the reason of posterity, the kids should know, the grandkids should know more about our families and our ways and where we came from, and some of our experiences during our life. I wrote in my diary today. First of all, let me explain this. I was glancing at the New York Times bestsellers list for the past few months, and one name keeps popping up over and over and over again, and I've kind of ignored it because her name is Colleen Hoover, and I'll tell you, she has caught the attention of Reading America. So much that at least I counted one day 4 of her books were are constantly on the best-selling list. I mean, you're talking about trade books, talking about hardback, audio, every way possible to extend her creative works are being consumed by the buying public. So I was at the library. I took a look at the bookshelves. In fact, where I work at Walmart, I was taking a look at the shelves, and Colleen Hoover is all over the place. People are buying her books. I can see that at the checkout, self-checkout. I went to the library last week, and as I walk into the library, I see right on the top shelf, a very prominent area of the display, Colleen Hoover. And it was entitled, "It Ended With Us." So I picked it up. So I don't read, I don't know, I've got a phobia against reading. Let me ignore that. A lot of guys don't like to read women authors because they're love stories in many cases, and guys don't like to read love stories. I don't mind that if it's not too much of a romantic novel. But while I was checking out at the counter, the young lady who was at the computer, she looked at the title, "It Ended With Us" by Colleen Hoover, and she said, "Is this for you?" And I automatically became embarrassed because, like I said, most men don't prefer women writers. And I have to admit, when she asked me, "Is this for you?" I thought she was jabbing at my sense of masculinity. So I made her repeat the question, because I needed a little bit more time to think of an answer that would not tarnish my male ego. So I admitted it. I told the truth rather than telling her that I got it from my wife. I said yes. I said I've seen her name on the bestseller list. I want to take a look and see what she's doing. Well, this young lady at the checkout at the library was telling me how hot this writer is. And she was saying, "Colleen Hoover is something else. This book just came back in 2 hours ago." Well, I came back home. I finished up the novel that I was reading quicker than I usually do because I knew that they were going to send me an email saying that I had to bring this right back. And I started reading Colleen Hoover. And I found out very quickly, by page 31, I think it was, why she's so popular. She knows how to put the steamiest sex scenes together on paper, obviously in a way that has enraptured female America. I believe it's the 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon all over again. Why am I bringing all this up? Well, because this morning I picked up my Bible, and I've been studying 1 Samuel again. Boy, has the Lord been teaching me some lessons from studying 1 Samuel. Woo-hoo-hoo! He wants me to put this book in my spirit and in my mind. Well, in the book of 1 Samuel, the hypocrisy of Eli, the high priest, was spelled out before my very eyes. Eli looked the other way when sin was very, very apparent. Knowing it was against God's wishes, he knew that sin was going on right under his nose. His sons were sinning grievously. And in the meantime, Israel was going to hell because of all of this. The Lord was telling me that I cannot accommodate sin in my life, like reading the book from Colleen Hoover, good writer. I cannot accommodate sin and ask for his blessing in the same breath. Let that sink in. I cannot accommodate sin and ask for his blessing in the same breath. That was precisely what I was doing by continuing to read that graphic word porn the writer was so capable of putting together. I was participating in it. I felt as an adult I could read this. I'm 70, almost 76 years old this month. I'll be 76. And I felt, I'm a pastor. I should be exposed to some of the stuff that's going on in the modern world. But I had to put the book away. I had to put the book away. I immediately felt better. I was listening to a loving Father who wants to protect me from Satan's world. God really loves me. He really loves me. I'm going to pray for Colleen Hoover to change her ways. She's been given a gift, and she's using it for the kingdom of darkness. She's been deceived, and she must be. I'm convinced by her writing that she is a fairly decent human being, but she's been deceived. We've all sinned. It says in Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Well, we know we've done that as adults, as parents, as mothers and fathers. We've got to make sure those kind of books don't get into our children's hands. Having sex before marriage is dangerous. It leads to sin. It is sin. And the reason it's sin is because it's not healthy for us. God doesn't want us to be harmed by the devil. And one of the primary uses of illicit sex is to harm us mentally, physically, and spiritually. Watch what you read. Your mind is the gateway to your heart. I feel embarrassed that I picked up that book, but I had to confess it to God, confess that sin, because I was going to try to read the whole book, but God told me to put it down. See, the wages of sin is death. Jesus took that away from us. He took away sin, he took away sickness, he took away death, so that we could have a good relationship with the Father and a good relationship with him. think twice about what you read. Get into the Bible. I love you. God loves you very, very much. And we'll talk to you soon. Very soon.